Hello and good morning, friends. Today we're going to be taking a look at a septic system on a house from 2006 that's been vacant for a year. We're going to be taking a look to make sure that everything's playing nice and doing as supposed to, and I want to take you with me. So these types of systems are usually pretty straightforward, especially in this county. Almost every single house since the 90s is basically the same. Now, the big thing that we need to look at first is we need to go through the records, make sure that everything is good to go, see what we're working with, and then we're going to take a look and see what's actually in the ground. So let's look at these records, and then I'll see you in a few seconds. Alrighty, so these records unfortunately don't have a drawing for us, so we're going to have to go based off of the design letter. So this particular property is going to have a 1,500-gallon tank to a distribution box, 2 drain fields, and this is the dimensions for that drain field. So hopefully, when we go outside, we should be able to see everything is going to match this area. Baltimore County is notoriously good at making sure that whatever the design letter says, they usually stick to pretty well. So I have high confidence that we're gonna see a pretty good system. So let's go outside and take a peek, see what we're working with. All right, so we've looked at the records and we see that we have our tank right over here, right? So we have our clean out in the front and our riser over there. So the sewer line should run towards the house that way. And then this is gonna be the tank, and the drain field should go over this direction. So let's go ahead, pop these open, see what's going on inside the tank, and then we're gonna see if everything's playing nice. So we've got these lids open, so we have a 2-chamber tank. So we have the front over here. This is how they're gonna pump out the tank. This is also gonna be over the inlet pipe. This is gonna be over the outlets pipe. With the 2-chamber tank, basically you're gonna have 2 tanks back to back, but in this particular circumstance, it's just one big tank with a concrete wall in the middle. So how this works, you're gonna have water go to the front chamber, all the solids and stuff will separate out, and then the remainder will go over to here. So basically by having 2 chambers, you clarify the liquid. Finding the liquid makes it where your drain fields can last longer, right? So you'll see most modern septic systems around here are gonna be 2 chambers at minimum. The reason why is a little bit of debris. No matter how well you take care of your tank by pumping it, a little bit's gonna always work its way out of the tank and into the drain fields. So by having 2 chambers, that little bit that would have originally made it from the tank to the fields gets stuck in the second chamber. Because it gets stuck in the second chamber, you should, in theory, get a longer lifespan out of the system. Now in our area, we've only been doing this for the last 20 years, so it's gonna take a little bit of time before we really see, does it actually increase the life of the drain fields? Okey-dokey, so we got ourselves the camera in the outlet line. The reason we wanted to do that is so I can figure out where the distribution box is, just because it's hard to tell exactly where the neighboring property and this property end. So toss the camera into the box. So now we get to take this little fella, go locate it, wherever that is, and then we should be able to find our drain fields. So we've got our distribution box located and marked. So each of these flags are gonna be the edges. So we got one edge here, here, there, and over here. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our tarp and shovel, get this open, that way we can run the camera through the drain field lines and see what we're working with. So now the distribution box is open, we can actually see that we've got 2 outlet lines that are actually going to run to the left, not the right. So now that we have the box open, we're going to take the camera, we're going to run the camera through these drain lines, and we're going to introduce some water and see what it does. The reason we want to make sure that we introduce water is to make sure that everything's draining correctly, right? So we would refer to this as a hydraulic load. These drain fields are designed to accommodate a volume of water for a day's worth of usage, right? So this is a 4-bedroom house, so it should be capable of handling roughly 600 gallons of water per day. Now, it's been vacant for about a year, so we got to put some water through just to make sure everything's still working fine. So while the water's going through, we're going to run the camera through the pipes as well to make sure there's no physical defects in the pipe, and I'll see you in a few seconds. So we've just got done running the camera through the lines, right? All of the sewer lines look like they're in pretty good shape. They're all PVC, right? To be expected for this age of the home. Ran the camera through the drain fields, didn't see anything, which is great. They took the liquid that we put into the tank, no problems, everything's dry, everything's working the way it's supposed to. Now, it's very important to make sure that if you're purchasing a home, or if you've never looked at your drain fields, I always recommend send a camera through there, right? It's the best way to see what's going on inside of your drain fields. Now, you might be asking, well, what is a drain field? Why does a camera make sense? In our area, drain fields are gonna be about 2 to 3 feet wide, 6 to 10 feet deep, usually 50 to 100 feet long, right? A lot of these homes will usually have 1 to 3 trenches. In these trenches, they're going to fill it with number 2 limestone and a perforated pipe. The reason you want to put the camera through is to make sure that the pipe's open, but also to see what happens when you run water through. Is the water flowing all the way to the end and backing up? Is it full of water? I've had plenty of trenches that were completely full of water but it never backed up to the house. It was just surfacing somewhere in the yard. So by having the camera go through the trench, you're able to see, oh, okay, the whole thing's underwater, and that can kind of help you figure out where water might be ponding. For example, if you have that water just flowing down to the end of the trench and backing up, you're able to put the camera all the way through and figure out exactly where the end of the trench is to see what might have happened. Maybe they put pitch on it, which they're not supposed to in our area. So I usually recommend the camera. I think you're going to get a better view of what's going on. So if you're hesitating on whether or not to have your system looked at least have somebody who knows what they're looking at come by, take a look at everything. And if they have a camera, I would always recommend throw the camera through there and just see what all you're working with. If you found this enjoyable, or if you found any kind of value out of this, please hit that like button, hit subscribe. I have videos posted every day on the World of Oil and Septic, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.